How's everybody doing today?
Wonderful.
Oh, we got some thumbs up. And is it Yana? Is that correct? Or
Yes, that's me.
my hostess? Excellent. If you don't mind, I'm going to walk in the footsteps of my predecessor speaker and have you also tell me what's in the chat, unless that's somebody else's job to be a chat monitor. Is that all right?
Okay.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, I am sending out into chat some tongue twisters that we will be using today, and a little later on, I'm also going to send out a poem called Invictus, and so if you want to pull that up on your own device, you certainly can. It's a fairly famous poem. My name is Fursey Gotuaco, and I have been an educator for over 25 years, most of those in theater. What I'd like to talk about today are some things that we do in theater that you may find helpful in your own presentations. A few of them are going to be helpful here in Zoom. Many of them are going to be helpful when we're going to say when we end up back in live meetings. I'm going to be moving back and forth away from the camera to try to present what happens physically. Because if I do this, but stay into the camera, you can see what happens. Yes? You can also see I've just lost what balding head I have. And so what we want to do is keep our distance and be very aware of where this lens is. And that's the primary goal in theater, is understanding what does the audience see? What does the audience hear? Communication. As the previous speaker said, nonverbal and verbal communication. One of the things that we do in theater to make sure that we are ready to present to hundreds, if not thousands of people, is we warm up. We warm up every part of ourselves that we use in the presentation. Not just parts of our body, but every part of ourselves. And that includes emotion. We will touch base on emotion at the end of this session, but for now, we're going to focus on our physical and our vocal abilities. Would you do this for me? And if you feel more comfortable turning off your camera, I understand. But here we're going to do some interactive things. Don't worry, nobody can see you do any of this, except the world. Don't worry though. All right, would you do this for me, please? Would you make your face as big as possible? Not by doing this, but by doing this. Excellent. Wow, some of you are excellent at that. Great, now make it as small as possible. And as big, and as small. Very good. And now I'd like you to do something very strange. By the way, that I'm gonna be saying that a lot. I'm gonna ask you to do something very strange. I'd like for you to blow through your lips, like so. I know, the guys, as boys, we did this all the time, right? I'm a motorboat. The girls, it's gonna ruin my lipstick. Okay, one more time. Good, you can go ahead and wipe off your screen now if you need. All right, now you're going to take your tongue and you're going to swirl it around the inside of your mouth, like you have, as we have in the US, peanut butter or anything else that could get sticky. If you would do that for me, please. You're going to move your tongue inside of your mouth. Absolutely. Very specifically, I would like for you to rub your tongue against your teeth. Rub the bottom of your tongue. If this is your tongue, rub it against your lower teeth. And then rub it against your upper teeth. Rub the sides. Very good. When we speak, our tongues are the most important muscle we use. Shouldn't we warm it up? We don't think, because when we speak for presentations, it must be precise. So our tongues must be capable of saying everything that our minds and our hearts can produce. So we must warm it up. Good. Now we're going to do a couple of tongue twisters, and those are the ones in the chat. We're going to start with some basic letters. The first one is TD. This is the way it's said. Duh, 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 duh. The second one, PB. Buh, 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 buh. And the third one, KG. Guh, 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 guh. Any thoughts on why I would choose those particular letters? Why would they be paired up? Why would they be paired up? I'll take any verbal responses, or you can send it in the chat. There's a very specific reason why those letters are matched together. Any thoughts?
The muscles used are different.
Yes, which muscles in particular?
Your lips and your tongue combination.
Absolutely. There's truth to that, and there is also a lot of truth in what people have put in the chat. The voiced versus the unvoiced. These sounds are made the same exact way. The duh, duh. They're made the same exact way, but one is voiced, one is not voiced. And oftentimes, depending on the space you're in, or how good your microphone is, or even the particular nuance of those words in different languages, the T can be lost. And so we have to make a D sound to voice it, duh, duh. But they're made the same exact way, the T and the D. Same for the P and the B. Buh, buh. Sometimes, depending on the space we're in, we have to voice the sound to make sure that it's heard. Otherwise, at the end of a word or at the end of a very long sentence, we can lose some of those sounds. But it's critical that we hit those sounds, because oftentimes when we speak, the most important part of the sound is at the end of the sentence. The most important words we say are at the ends of the sentence, and the most important sound of the word is at the end of the word. So we've got to make sure to hit those endings, and sometimes that means we voice it, even when it's not supposed to be voiced. G, g. Some languages, the sound is forward in the mouth. Some languages, the sound is further back in the mouth. Understanding where that sound is and how that sound is made allows us to be very specific in the way that we pronounce words and the way that we use words for effect. Next one. These are all very basic. They're very common. You can look them up anywhere. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, yellow leather, red. I invite you to say this with me. You can even unmic and say it if you wish. I know you've probably been mic'd all day long. So if you'd like to unmic, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Red leather, yellow leather,
red
yellow
leather,
yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, yellow leather, red.
Excellent. Very good.
Amazing.
Remember, we're recording all of this. No, don't worry, don't worry. Leather, leather. Sometimes what I find is that people do not sustain the sound. They'll go leather. but we have to sustain it, hold the tongue there underneath the teeth, allow the vibration, leather, and then have enough air to push forward on the ER. Leather. One more time, please. Red leather, yellow leather. 1, 2, 3. Red leather.
yellow
red
leather,
leather, yellow leather,
yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, yellow leather, red.
red.
Excellent. Very good. I'm hearing some good D's, especially on the end of red. Toy boat. Very easy words. Obviously, we're working on the T's. Toy boat. Toy boat. Toy boat. But another part of it that we're working on that we forget about is the nice O sound. Think of the inside of your mouth and think of it as a nice large cave where the sound can resonate. Toy boat. Toy boat. Toy boat. All right, 1, 2, 3. We're going to repeat that sequence 3 times. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Toy
Boat, toy boat, toy boat.
Good. We start slowly, and then after a while, when you do it and you get used to it, toy boat, toy boat, toy boat. Yes, you'll go very quickly, just like red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, yellow leather, red. I know, things you can do with your grandchildren or child. Let's see who can go faster. No, and so we warm up before every single performance, and I encourage you to do the same before any of your presentations. The last one. Today, I will speak with a rich, round, resonant voice. All together? 1, 2, 3. Today I
will
speak
with
a rich, round, resonant voice.
Excellent. Excellent. Lots of T's, lots of D's, lots of nice, full vowel sounds. The last warm-up, the last vocal warm-up for you to consider is a very simple one. Humming. Humming. To simply hum. Before your presentation, hum. In your car while you're going to the presentation, hum. If you're in the subway, you can hum. You got your headphones in, you hum. You're backstage, you hum. Of course, they'll think you're a little lunatic, but it's okay. That's all right. It's okay to be a little crazy. Maybe. Okay, so we hum, and it sounds like it's resonating. What you want to feel is that vibration. You want to feel that vibration right here in your chest, and you want to feel the vibration through your facial mask. Excellent. Moving forward, we're going to do some physical warm-ups. We hold a lot of tension in our body. All of us have the ability to project. We're born with it. We are born with the ability to project. How do we know this? Just listen to a baby cry. We can hear it from across a crowded restaurant. But through years of tension, through years of people like our parents and our grandparents telling us to be quiet, for years of librarians telling us to hush up, we start to get quiet. And our insecurities take over. And we start to think, I don't have anything to say. And so we get very quiet. As we get older, this tension starts to weigh on us, and it weighs on us right in our shoulders. So physically, we must warm up to be ready to speak. Think about our heads. Roll one way, please. This is going to be the best part of the video. They're like, oh my gosh, look at this audience. They're falling asleep. Good. And now your shoulders. Up, 1, 2, 3, down. When you go down and you relax the shoulders, enjoy it. Enjoy relaxing. Up, 1, 2, 3, down. Up, 1, 2, 3, down. Now, please move both shoulders forward. Big circles. Oh my gosh, you can feel the tension melting away. All those things you're supposed to do later today and tonight and tomorrow, going away. Maybe not, they'll still be there. Good, and now back, please. Shoulders back. And now, for you truly talented people out there, one forward and one back. That's right. These are all tricks that you can do when you're trying to babysit little children. And now the other way. The other one forward and the other one back. Well done. Well done. Yeah, fitness time. Yes, absolutely. And now what you're going to do, and if you're sitting, I understand you may not be able to do this, but if you can stand, try this. I'd like for you to hold your hips in place. Hold your hips in place, but rotate just your upper torso. Just your upper torso. And now rotate all the way down to your ankles and knees. And now rotate in 2 different directions. Your shoulders go one way and your hips go the other way. I hope we're not going to have to call an ambulance for anybody. Excellent. I also hope there's no one in your living room right now watching you and laughing at you. I'm conferencing, can't you tell? Understanding how our bodies move allows us to utilize these tools when we present. How? Let's think about our gestures. We'll start with facial gestures. I know, facial gestures. We already did this, which is critical in Zoom because the camera's right here. Everybody feels like a movie star because the screen fits our face. Whereas in a regular presentation, our face is back here and we really can't even see much of the face. When the audience sees us, they actually try to focus on our face. We are naturally drawn to faces, especially faces as beautiful and as handsome as the ones I see on my screen. So we try to use our face and make sure it's visible to the audience. When is it not visible? Sometimes it's not visible when we're doing a PowerPoint live, right? We have a PowerPoint there and we start doing this. I can tell you right now, as beautiful as the backs of your heads are, it's nowhere near as handsome as the front of your head. Try to keep this face presented to the audience. They want to see it. If we don't see the speaker speaking, we actually can't hear you. If we don't see the face speaking, it lowers our ability to understand what you're saying. So make sure that we see it. I know these are strange things that we don't normally think about, but in theater, it's important. We have to see your face. This also includes if it's dark. If I am in the dark and the audience cannot see my face, they have a harder time understanding me. So make sure the lectern is in the light. Critical. Be in the light. Be in the light. The only problem is if there's several speakers on stage and there's only one light. Then you got to say things like, "This is my light. You must find your own." No, don't do that. Don't do that. Understanding what the audience sees and hears is the most important thing we can do for ourselves as presenters and speakers. Let's think about beyond the face now. Gestures. A lot of times the gestures are right here. What part of our body is actually moving? Just our hands. Would you do that for me, please? Would you move just your fingers? And now just your thumbs. Pointer fingers, middle fingers. It's a very important finger in driving, at least in America. I don't know about Russia. Ring finger and pinky finger. Move them all. Would you please add your wrists now? I know it's gonna get crazy in about 10 seconds. And now add your elbows. Do you see how different parts of our body move independently? I know you know this, and yet when we're presenting, we forget. I know, this is my car. Okay, so, and then we add our shoulders. What happens when we start to add our shoulders? Don't forget your wrists. I see you, you forgot your fingers. What happens when we forget our shoulders? You may now relax, unless you just enjoy doing that, which is fine. I get that. I like doing it. Our gestures lose power when we only use a small part of our body. Full gestures should start at the shoulder. When we use our shoulders, we all of a sudden increase the size of our presence. I can fill my screen. And then as I move closer to the camera and I get too big, I can bring it in. I'm still filling the screen. And when I get here, I'm still filling the screen. I'm adjusting at the elbows to fill the screen. And when I'm here, I'm filling the screen. You can't tell, but I've bent down. I've bent at my knees so I can feel the screen and not be, okay. Yes? So from here, and then if I pull back, I'm still filling the screen. Fill the screen, fill the screen, fill the screen, fill the screen. My volume is getting bigger the further away I am. My hands can get larger. Think about gestures as a way of conducting the audience's eyes to your face. Again, we're drawn to the face. And this little box around us, it's like a movie screen or a TV screen, yes? Use your hands to conduct people's eyes to your eyes. We're in a very visual society. And thanks to modern media, the images clip by us so fast. They change so quickly. I'm a teacher. I work with students. Their attention span is so, what? Okay. Their attention spans are so short that you, Holy Toledo. These are my keys. And I had to use my keys in class. And every time they start to fade, I got to go, oh, shiny objects, shiny objects. And you have to, okay, that's not really true. I don't jingle. Otherwise people would think I'm a real lunatic. Well, they think I'm a lunatic anyway. But you can use your hands as those shiny objects to bring the attention back to you. The hands can move symmetrically. The hands can move, wait for it, asymmetrically. I know, these are things that are so obvious, and yet we never thought about them, did we? We never thought about the fact that our hands could move asymmetrically. I know some of you are like about to do that whole exercise where you rub your belly and pat your head and things like that, but that would mess up your hair, so don't do that. Our hands can move in a variety of different ways depending on what our message requires from us. What does our message require from us? What does this audience require from us? How can our hands come towards our bodies? How can our hands move away from our bodies. What's the message we're trying to say? Are we trying to be inclusive and say we must bring more customers? We must bring more of the people from our company closer to our hearts. Closer to our hearts. Watch the fingers. Are they apart? Are they together? We want to avoid this little move. You've seen this before, haven't you? Now that I'm a professional speaker and I move away from the lectern, yes, I move away from the lectern, and now I'm going to speak doing this. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know what this is? It's called a forklift. Come on now, we're better than forklifts. These ideas we have are not so heavy that we need a forklift. And subliminally in our minds, when we see somebody doing this all the time, we think, they got nothing. They got nothing. They don't know. They don't know. These great ideas they have, they don't know. They're pleading with you, please help me. Somebody in the audience, give me an idea. We're better than that. We do know. That's why we have the microphone. We do know. We can challenge our audience. We use our hands, yes? We can think big. We use our hands, yes? We can be impassioned. We use our hands, yes? We do have PowerPoints. Our hands can gesture backwards. Oh my gosh! They can gesture backwards. We don't have to turn around to look at the PowerPoint. I can keep my audience looking at me, and then I can direct them to the PowerPoint for as long as it takes to read, which will be about 5 seconds, right? No longer. Otherwise, they got to squint. And then you've got a whole room full of people looking like me going, "Arr." Gesture, and then it's back to me. Gesture to what I need them to see, and then it's back to me. We never lose sight of that. Because this, more handsome than that. Plus, in my case, there's a lot of glare. We use our hands. There is a plane, there are 3 planes. 3 planes, geometric planes. One right down the middle, the left and the right divided with this plane. There is this plane, lower, above, and then there's this plane here, forward and back. Anytime we cross those planes, it's more interesting. Subliminally, in our audience's mind, anytime we cross those planes, it's more interesting. If I keep my hands here, it's one thing. When I do that, it gets very different. Our brains are like, whoa, I got to think of that. We also tax people's brains when we speak and do a gesture at the same exact time. What? Yes. Our brains can only do one thing at a time. Now, they do it very quickly and they do it in sequence, but our brains can only do one thing at a time. Listening is one thing. Seeing is one thing. They can't do both. So let's say you have a gesture and a word. You can only do one of them at a time and then do the other. For example, you are great. You are great. Our brain is like, am I great or are you smacking me with your hand? Which is, it works that quickly. If you want to do both, you are great. You are great. You're great. It is your responsibility. It is your power. It is your power. Do one and then the other. If you do the gesture first, you're allowed to sustain it. The gesture doesn't have to go away. Not only should you cross different planes, but consider the duration of time the duration of time, not just of your gesture, but even of your words. Even of your words. Let the vowel sound carry. It's okay. Let the duration carry forth. Sustained gesture. Let's say you have a list of things you have to talk about, which, by the way, is not very good idea. Nobody likes a list. Nobody likes a list. You can't remember lists. Think about the last time you went to the grocery store. Okay, I'm gonna get meat. Okay. Oh, wait. Get meat and vegetables. Oh, okay, meat and vegetables. Okay, wait. Meat, vegetables, and get a newspaper. Okay, meat, vegetables, newspaper. And remember to get the little thing at the front counter that helps me to hang things on the wall. Okay, meat, vegetable, wall. Oh my gosh, we can't remember lists. But when you're describing things, and let's say you have to talk about the grocery store and how important the grocery stores are to our communities. These are important because it brings people together. We create relationships. We create a local economy. Where's the grocery store? It's right there. By sustaining the gesture, we allow our audience to remember what's the critical thing we're talking about. And then you can refer back to it. We can sustain our gestures. Don't forget the back of your hand. By understanding how we can use our hands, this will help us to help our audience sustain the ideas and the thoughts. Jana, how much time do I have?
Just a sec.
That's all I have? No!
Okay, about 15 minutes.
Perfect. That's excellent. I paid Jana a little extra money to give me a little extra time. I appreciate that, Jana. You're wonderful. The check is in the mail. I'm going to send to you a poem called Invictus. We're going to use it, and I invite any of you to volunteer. I have also invited one of my students to come up here, yes, at 7 o'clock in the morning, Texas time, to participate in this. Oh, did it go? Don't think it went. One of the crazy ideas that I'm going to give you today is the use of music to understand how we can best amplify the message we have through the use of music. Not that we play music while we speak, although that can be very powerful as well for certain moments, but rather, it's not going. But rather how important it is while we are creating our document and how we're creating our presentation. I advise you to use a piece of music. Find one specific music if you can. Find one specific piece of music and then play it as a way of inspiring you. And when I mean play it a lot. While you're rehearsing your speech, play it a lot. If you're driving, play it a lot. If you're on the subway, play it a lot. If you are writing your speech and you know what emotion you're trying to draw from your audience or what kind of thoughtfulness you're trying to draw from your audience, play that music because that's where you want your audience's mind to be. So why not put yourself in their seats? Put yourself in their space. And then as the words come to you, let the music rise. It's your muse. The artists of the ancient world have a muse. The painter has a muse. The writer has a muse. You have music. Let it inspire your thought. Let it inspire your gestures. Slower music, slow your gestures down. More powerful music. Let your gestures convey the power. Look at your fingers. Convey the power. Okay, again, more babysitting. Convey the image that you want using that music. So let's take, for example, this speech. I'm going to have my student say one stanza, and it's going to be the fourth stanza. And then we're going to take, you are welcome to take any part of this poem, the first, the second, the third, or the fourth stanza, and try to say it in any different way you'd like. And if you have a particular piece of music in mind, you may even play that music or have it in the background, any way you want. Just a couple of examples here. We only have a few minutes. I'm going to have my students say it, and I want you to think about some words to describe how she says it. All right, this is going to be Megan Valley. Megan Valley is a junior here at my school.
Hello. Sorry, you can see me now. So I will begin. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishment the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Very good, excellent. If we give Megan a big round of applause. She is a dynamite student, but hey, anytime you're in front of an international audience, it's a little daunting. She did good. She's a very good speaker, but I only told her about this a couple hours ago, last night. So, what are the images that came to mind as she said it? Any thoughts? Yes. Any thoughts? In red? I don't know your name.
I'm not good in English. I only understand, but couldn't speak.
Okay. Anybody else? Thoughts on that? Okay.
She's like a warrior.
A warrior.
Yes.
Nice. You're a warrior. Put the weapon down. Okay. Yes. Great. Excellent. Excellent thought. Anybody else?
At a funeral gate.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. I like that, sir. I like that. I'm going to play some different music, and then I'm going to try to speak some of the lines based on the music. And then I'm going to play a different piece of music and see how you can change the interpretation, the inflection, based on music alone. Let me see if this will actually play. Whoops, wrong one. That's later. It's a little soft. Is anything coming through at all? Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. Pretty basic, yes? Pretty basic. We key on words like night, I thank, soul. These are the words that draw from the music. For me. For you, it will be different because each of us is different. Now we play that song that came on inadvertently earlier. Totally different. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. You know, like when your team doesn't do what you ask them to do? A little AC/DC goes a long way. There are so many different ways to carve out the words we need to use and then to convey the words we have chosen to use. So first, what goes on the page? And then how do you take what's on the page to the stage? Music can help you through all of that if you understand, what do I want to convey to my audience? What's the image? We'd like to believe that the audience will accept every single thing we say. We'd like to believe that they can remember everything we say. They can't. They can't. It's hard for you to remember everything that I said. I'll be lucky if you remember one or two words. I'll be lucky. I can hope for an image. I can hope for an image, and an image will be in place of a story. We always say stories, yes? From the story, you may not remember all the details, but you'll remember the general image. Different kind of music. The final paragraph. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Always fade music in and out. I apologize for cutting that off urgently. How we express ourselves can be dependent on external factors that we use for influence. How we express ourselves can be based on the tools that we have, and are the tools ready for use. Would anyone like to try any of the paragraphs we have in the poem? Excellent. Michael Water? Sorry. Excellent. You'll have to
Unmute.
Yes, sir. Please.
In the fell clutch of circumstances, I have not winced or cried aloud. Under the bludgeoning of chase, my head is bloody, but unbowed.
Nice. Nice. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. I know it's a scary thing to go, yeah, I'll do it. Nice pausing, the rate, the vowel sound, the lengthening of the vowel sound, taking up the time, the quality of the voice, not harsh, not too soft. There's a consistency there, yes? Very nice, sir. Very nice. Thank you very much. Would anyone else like to give it a shot?
Alexandra Fedorenko wants to try.
Go ahead, please.
Hi again. I'm outside as always. Give me just a sec. Okay, here you go. It matters not how straight the gates, how charged with punishments the scroll. I'm the master of my fate. I'm the captain of my soul.
Nice. Well done. Thank you, Alexandra. I'm going to give you a little bit of feedback. What I enjoyed from what you did, there was an increase in tension as she went. Yes? She increased it and kept going with every line. It kept going and going and going and going. She built it one on top of the other. Well done. Very nicely done. You can see that in your speech as you present, that it increases all the way up to the pinnacle. And that's where you take your audience. You take your audience, not just in their mind, but in their hearts and in their soul. Thank you, Alexandra. Anyone else? This is called wait time, by the way. Teachers are supposed to wait a few seconds. I know it's awkward and it's uncomfortable. Everybody's like, am I on mute? I think he's on mute. I don't know. But you give a chance. You give a chance. So we either have volunteers or we have victims. No. Are there questions about what we've discussed today? I know I'm on a very limited amount of time. I want to make sure that there's an opportunity for any kinds of questions. Michael.
When you're giving a speech and you're standing up and you're backing away, is there a line at your suit button or your belt line that you should not go beyond? Or because it's difficult when you get further back from that to be heard consistently. So is there a recommended line amount to have in the stream?
I think it all depends on how much I've eaten that day. No. Hey, listen, there's a reason why they created double-breasted suits, right? I think it's on what you feel comfortable and how much your camera picks up on the detail. At a certain point, the details blur.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I need to be this far to show you the size of the fish that I caught, then you need to back up. But if they need to see the detail, if they need to see your eyebrows, and I know mine are pretty bushy, if they need to see your eyebrows and you express things with your eyebrows, then you'll need to be a little closer to your camera. So it really is dependent on what your camera, and remember, you're always looking at the camera, what your camera picks up and how much you want your audience to see.
Thank you.
You bet, as well as your microphone as well. I know everybody keeps telling me wear a body mic so they can hear me. All right, I think they can hear me pretty well, and it sounds like it's presenting, as opposed to a microphone here where I feel like I'm an astronaut or Houston, you know. So it's a choice. It's a personal choice on your part. Other questions?
First, I have a question, if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
First of all, this is a master class. Thank you so very much for this. Now, of course, it's case by case, specific to the person. Yet, you mentioned using music, which I do all the time. Excellent advice. Do you have any go-to songs that you may recommend? For example, if we're trying to create an emotion within a talk, a speech, there may be different kind of emotions. Any go-to or recommended songs you could give to the audience to create quote unquote sadness, to create quote unquote hope? Are there songs you recommend for that?
Hope is a good one. Hope is a very important one. Hey, remember, there is no such thing as a speech to just tell our audience information. There's no such thing as an informative speech. Every speech is persuasive. We're trying to persuade them one way or the other. At the very least, we're trying to persuade people to believe us. And one of the things that we often try to persuade people is that there is hope. My favorite tune, soundtracks. Use soundtracks from movies because there's music but no words. I mean, you can use words if you want. I do that many times, but I love soundtracks, and the soundtrack I love to use the most, thank you, Mr. CJ Marks, great question, is from Field of Dreams. Track 12, Field of Dreams. It's about 9 minutes long. You got this nice music. It's very inspiring. It's full of wonder. Great to use. That's my go-to many times. Oftentimes, I'll use that underneath my speech. Meaning, as I speak, I have that playing underneath. Hey, if characters in movies can have dramatic music underneath their great monologue, why can't you? You just got to time it out really well. And if you do it really well, your audience doesn't even know what's going on. They're just like, oh my gosh, this thing is great. And then when the music stops and you stop speaking, they're like, there's kind of a void in my life. I must go do this now.